Hello to the TOC meeting on 19th of December. This is our last meeting for this year, and we will have the agenda to review our action items from last week, updates from the service management working group, any other business, and review PRs and RFCs we have. So talking about actions from last week, so we had actions to get a new Google Doc set up and also meeting setup for the TUC meeting. Yeah, Chris, we have those already.
We have accomplished those, yes.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you all for your patience.
In the meeting, so we successfully managed to join, and we have also the meeting notes in place. Yeah. Okay, then we can continue with the updates from the service management working group. Marcella, thank you for joining.
So since the last update, what happened was we had a very nice live stream for the cloud service broker by Konstantin Semenov. Cloud service brokers, all questions answered. So if you're curious, you can probably see the recording somewhere in YouTube. It was about how to write your own broker pack, so your own plugin to provision services in some cloud of your choice. Then we had, for the cloud service brokers, we had different features, nothing big, but we have some improvements in that we are still working on in the upgrading process. So there's a plugin, upgrade all service instance plugin, that is having some improvements to output more logging on what's failing when you're upgrading an instance, or new flags to check if all the instances are up to date or up to date to the version and things like that, just to give them more flexibility and control over the upgrade process, and to be able to do a safe upgrade. And miscellaneous stuff like support. We're adding support in AWS for GovCloud. There are not many changes that we needed to do, but mostly just actually testing that it works. For the AWS broker pack, adding Postgres 15 support in GCP. For Postgres 15 was a weird one because permission model changed in Postgres, so we had to change some of the binding logic in there. And for the AWS broker pack, we also added a new service, MS-SQL, so you now can provision MS-SQL instances through the cloud service brokers in AWS. That's mostly all for the cloud service brokers. Volume services have been mostly doing dependency updates, and we do have a request from Map Runtime to move some related repositories into this working group that I haven't looked much into. Sorry, Amelia. Bear with me. As far as I remember and what I could see from my notes, that the split makes sense because there were some repositories that were initially envisioned like as a way of writers of volume services to be able to test that their implementation was right, or some tests that actually made sure that the plugin architecture on the Diego side was not broken with changes on the ego side and were unrelated with the broker. But I need to look a little bit more to understand, because I'm not really an expert on this area. And when we did this split, most of the people that had been working on volume services had moved on. So it's a it's a tricky one. Service Fabric is mostly dependency upgrades, and the big thing they are looking into is that Gardener is dropping support for static kube configs. So they need to look at, because they support static kube config in Service Fabric, they need to implement a mechanism to grab whatever configuration is being passed to them and update it regularly in the primary cluster. So that's the current focus. And on the OSB API side, there hasn't been activity. What we did do since the last update was, with the help of Chris, we updated the site to remove stale information about people that were in the board or stuff like that, and the old organization. And we directed people to the working group calls and all that. So at least people know where to go. We are still pointing to the open service broker API on Slack, which we were mostly keeping because there were a lot of people hanging around there, but there hasn't been activity. And we are on a free account now that doesn't show you the history. So after talking to Chris, we mostly decided that we are going to drop it in favor of the Cloud Foundry Slack and the working group. We can even create a new channel, but for now, the working group channel, we haven't done any updates to the page yet. And I'm supposed to message in the Slack just to give people a heads up on that's happening. On the good news is that it's one less front to look at, and things will be more concentrated in the Cloud Foundry Slack. So it's basically that. Quiet end of the year.
Is there a plan for them? I don't know. There's no history, but like I'm assuming there are maybe some people on the old Slack that are not on the Cloud Foundry Slack. Will these be invited, or is there a plan for that?
I
didn't think of that. We could think of options, but
that Slack is quite dormant, it looks like. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't see direct messages, but you know, as far as public messages, there's really just nothing there over the last year. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably not worth it.
No, and even the history, it could be nice to have just to see the discussions, but they're also like the last few years, even since the pandemic, I think things like got very quiet, and so everything that was discussed there is probably also outdated and not really useful. Yeah.
Thank you for the notes up front. It's really helpful. I have
Yeah.
also a question. I see from time to time people having issues with the environment because it gets too big or large. There is a limit on OS level to that the environment variables cannot be larger than 130 kilobyte. Do you have do you get any issues in that direction?
And which of the three?
So
Or
the service
for-
bindings, when you have application, usually the service instances, when you bind them to the application, they contribute information to the environment of the application. And in that case, there is an issue that the environment cannot be larger than 130 kilobyte. And so I see people from time to time reaching that limit of 130 kilobyte for the environment of.
We haven't had issues regarding bindings. No, because this would be application specific, right? I mean, then someone might have
Yes, if you have too
an
many
application that
services-
have too many configurations through environment variables, and then a few bindings add to backup services stuff, and then you get over that. No, we didn't have any reports of that. We did go because the cloud service broker is deployed as an app. We did go over that limit because we were configuring plans and stuff through environment variables, and we had to follow a different pattern to remove that from environment variables. So we did, if that's useful, but we haven't got any issues from customers of that happening. I'm not sure if that would be directed to us. It would probably be most directed to CAPI, right? Because we created the binding itself. We are a broker, so we create a binding itself, but not bind the application. So we create a credential or something that we return to CAPI, and CAPI is the one that actually binds the application.
You mean that the CF services environment variable, how the binding is provided in the application, is not specified in the OSB API specification. It's something which CAPI,
No.
the cloud controller, does. Okay.
Yeah. So like if Cloud Controller would want to maybe start also exposing it as a file, right? The contents of that with a temp file or something. That's
Like,
mounted into the application, like
yeah.
Kubernetes does.
Yeah. Okay, it's good to know.
But there are these all these ecosystem specific plugins, right, that are or gems and stuff that are used to access or read out that information. So those would also need to.
Yeah, it would be a pretty difficult incompatible change. So
yeah.
I mean, you can do it in
search on to find a way how to set environment variables bigger than 130K on a container. That I cannot believe that this is technically impossible.
Are there any other questions? Doesn't seems to be the case. Then thank you for the update on the Java. We have here PR, which is maybe I can created by you. It's already, you provided already an answer.
Yeah, a long time ago. How didn't you see it? Yes, this is on the back of what Amelia had messaged surrounding removing any access that was not inside groups from January. So we do have one bot that does some updates that does push directly to main, and we haven't been able yet to change that. And we are getting failures because it doesn't, if we try to not to use only write permissions, it gives us that it doesn't satisfy the ECCLA condition that we have in our repos. So we need admin rights to bypass our branch protection rules. Or maybe we need to go through a PR and do maybe a two-bot PR workflow or something like that. For now, we cannot do that. We do not have time to do it. I'm going to be completely honest. So just creating a group to give that bot admin rights for the time being, just a temporary group. That would be the request.
Okay, I honestly don't think that this will help because admin users cannot bypass the branch protection rules, if I remember correctly, but I haven't dealt with branch protection recently. So you need you don't need admin rights, actually, you need a specific configuration for branch protection, but that is possible as well in the branch protection YAML. So I think there are also examples.
My description might not be accurate because I completely forgot the details of that. But what I can tell you is when Amelia messaged, we did try. Since we did the whole groups split, we placed the bot in the bots group, and then it failed. And then I added it individually with admin rights.
And then it worked.
And I didn't remember if the issues that we were facing then had been solved. So I just tried in one repository, removed it. And then we got a failure. And then re-adding it as admin, everything worked. So
I just looked at what I do for routing release because we have bots merge PRs too. And I just posted it in the TOC channel.
This is not, we're not creating a PR, we're just pushing directly to main with the bot.
I see.
But whatever information you have is useful to put in the story that we have to tackle this.
Okay, so maybe Stefan, you can put comment how special branch protection rules can be configured, and Marcella, you can. So I'm not sure how to proceed. If
Yeah, so I would need to look it up. What I can see is that there are several, in certain areas, several projects that need those, I don't know, special access. They have simply bypassed the branch protection completely for selected projects. For instance, Garden CI, Garden Wiki, in the runtime platform repositories. And it's also possible then to configure all the, for instance, to remove branch protection for admin users and then grant admin user to access to the bot. But I would need to know what exactly you want to achieve. Otherwise, it's difficult to say what is the best solution. I mean, I'm not completely against granting admin rights, but usually that's the way how it starts to mess things up. And it was a long way to clean all the access rights up, and now we go into the wrong direction. That's why I always ask a bit what is the use
this
case,
is better
what exactly?
This is better than we have now, because now we would be documented in the group definition that we do have this as a temporary group until we have time to tackle it. We can take a look at in the new year. I can message you the configuration we have, and we can see if there's another way of configuring it. What I don't want is, because we don't want to give access to a bot that we control, to have admin rights, giving more people extra rights or removing
Mhm.
branch protections or things like that can cause worse problems.
Yeah. Okay, then let's find that out, and we check beginning of next year, and then we decide either admin rights or bypass branch protection for the bot or whatever is appropriate. So I don't want to block, of course, your development. That it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we made the temporary workaround for a reason. And thank you for providing a nice description of why you have it, so we can bug you every 6 weeks you come to talk to us about why you still have it. But I'm glad you were proactive about this, so that it won't fail when we decide to remove it.
So if we need it right away, we can also say we merge it now and try then to find a better solution in the next year. So if you are now blocked, that's also possible.
So we will be okay until Amelia forces removes all the users that that shouldn't be there.
So you're not blocked at the moment, yeah?
At the moment, no. And Amelia said that there will be enough lead time provided also for when this is going to be enforced. So, yeah.
Okay, then try to find the best fit for this. And okay, and now we have something new for the TOC. Promotion, PR.
So Eric was getting a little slow about nominating himself for execution lead for my working group, so I did it for him. But he did approve.
I checked. He is also not inactive, an inactive user. Great. So you are planning to be bot execution leads, or is?
Yeah, I left it that way for now.
Okay, great. I don't know. I wanted to write welcome, but Eric is already in the it's not so appropriate. So happy to have Eric. And last but not least, we have my favorite one. So for the last meeting, I managed to get it working, and here is a PR which was created by the automation. Yeah. So the users have not been notified yet, but this is the PR which the automation will create when executed. I used the opportunity here and I paired with Ruben also this week. It was great to get different input. Yeah. So do we have any questions or anything?
So will this is like removing those users, right?
Yeah, removing 449 users. Yeah. From the cloud contributors YAML, which we will remove them from the GitHub organization, the Cloud Foundry GitHub organization, as members.
Is there, have we gone through the list? Because I looked at that list just now, and one of our working group leads is in it, I think. It looked like Paul Warren was in the list about to be deleted.
That should not be, because he has a role, and all users with a role should not be included. So then it would be a bug, actually.
Let's see. Maybe I read it wrong. I was just, I saw it briefly.
Oh, what? Okay. Only Paul. See what? Do you mean this user?
Yeah. He's lead of the security work group, right? Maybe
It
he has a
could
different
be,
GitHub username or something, but I just saw that and got worried.
But there are a few working groups, and probably the security working group is among them, that do not have a charter. So that one should be fixed.
Oh, this will need a special handling.
Yeah, in the very beginning, a few working groups were a bit
Exceptions.
lazy. No, they get a charter, right? And that's it.
So we have to open an issue for them as prerequisite to have the.
Yeah, but it's good that you noticed that could be.
I see quite a lot of CI bots in here too. I know some of our bots aren't used anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe we can give it a week and let everyone just browse through these and see
Makes sense.
if
We should
anyone
maybe,
else but like, you know,
notify-
some of them it's like Aaron Hurley. Man, he hasn't worked here in a long time. What a flashback. And some of them.
Well, I will notify then the working group leads to check on the list. And yeah, beginning of next year, we can make this then happen.
Sounds good. We should see if Paul notices he's on there as a test. Thank you so much for doing this, though.
So we have then two action items.
So if people that worked on CF before in the past, and they would be going through like an internal transfer and come back to it, would their contributions from the past count toward, like if they want to apply for a role, would their contributions still count? Given that we're now only looking at their like the last year.
You mean for becoming an approver or reviewer or
Yeah,
something?
for example. Yeah.
I would say yes, because the knowledge doesn't go away, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
so this
it
is
does
more
for me.
usually the next day.
So
Okay, there are exceptions, I agree.
We had one or two such cases in this year, and this is if the working group approves the promotion PR, then this is not 100% clarified in our promotion RFCs, but yeah.
I don't know if being a contributor is like a prerequisite for approver. If it's worded that way, right? Because
I just pulled it up. It does say that you're supposed to be a reviewer for 3 months before you become an approver. So if you were following that, there would always be 3 months lead time. You wouldn't just jump right back into being an approver again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please check. So I think it's fine to be we can merge this. At the moment, I configured it to run on when something is pushed to the branch here, so it will run. But if you are fine, we can merge the PR. It will just create update this PR without notifying users, let's say. Yeah. And now, any other business, we have one topic.
yeah, I put that there. So there is now an issue opening Cloud Controller, which probably involves multiple working groups, because maybe you can open the issue. It is around the hashing that's used to like for the the target pods where the build packs will be downloaded during staging. That's currently using MD5, which is not allowed under FIPS. That's the error you get, and changing this requires changes on the Diego side in the build pack lifecycle, as well as on the cloud controller side. There's currently an active discussion going on about like how we want to roll such a thing out. And probably it will at least require two deploys. So we need to also coordinate with CF deployment. So this was more for awareness. This, I think, is where like most of the FIPS things are in flight or being merged and released. But this is like, I think, the last big thing that we need to get resolved. So there's already a PR that does a naive change just to prove that like works, but it's not it's not taking into account the upgrade pod.
Yeah, so from the cloud controller side, there are some colleagues here in the room working actually on that and discussing what can be done. We have no solution yet, but if we want to change the algorithms, then it very likely needs interesting coding and rollout mechanisms, temporary. I mean, in the end, it's again only one, but then you need to try with the first digest. If it doesn't work, with the second one, and then give up or something like that. And we have not yet somebody from the I think platform working group involved. So from the Diego side, who is has the life cycle in the hands, but we also need to understand first what is actually going on which VM. Write that down, because it's an area where we have not that much experience yet. So if somebody, for instance, a new execution lead, can shed some light on that,
yes,
everything is welcome here.
This will be a great thing to assign to that new execution lead, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So much Diego knowledge. Like, and I just learned that knowledge doesn't go away, right? So that definitely applies here.
Yeah. So we are also still discussing whether we should simply in the cloud controller re-implement MD5. It's
I see.
Not a nice solution, but it's compatible. And at the end of the day, if we replace it, we can also replace it with this XX hash, because it's not cryptographically used, and it's maybe not worse to have here these SHA-256 efforts running. So, but yeah, colleagues are still working on it, and once we understand in detail, I guess there will be a proposal, and next year.
Proposal-wise, would you think this needs to go through an RFC, or do we want to just use this discussion here and come up with a solution?
Discussion here, and then maybe a meeting between the working groups, and one of the working group meetings. Ari unfortunately doesn't have one. Or copy open office hour or whatever. I mean, we can find out the colleagues and then agree on a solution. That then works. Yeah. I don't think it's an internal thing that is not available as an API somewhere to customer. I don't think we need an RFC for that.
No, it's more about like we need to find alignment between different working groups, coordinate between them. That's why I wanted to raise it up here, right? Because then at least people are aware.
Makes sense. It looks like Amin has been responsive. He's definitely our resident Diego expert. So, but if anyone's not responsive, feel free to reach out.
On our side, it's Philip Toon who is most of the time working on it when it comes to application runtime deployments, and we also have full access here with Johannes. It's just side by side, so that works easily.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else? Not, so this was our last meeting for this year. I wish you happy holidays. Enjoy the time. with snow, without snow.
Let's see.
And see you next year. So take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Holidays, everyone.
See you.
Happy
Thanks for the
holidays.
work.
Bye.
Holiday.
Bye.